Okay, y'all. Long time no see. We back. We're gonna do Haves and the Have Nots, season 5, episode 4, A Mother's Wisdom. Alright, y'all. So the episode starts off with David, Veronica, and Catherine at the Crier's house. Veronica has the gun on David, and she is basically desperate at this point for David to believe that she did not kill Jennifer. So she has the gun on David, and she's talking, talking, talking. She comes up with this idea in her mind that she's going to, quote unquote, sell to the jury about what happened in the house. Um, she says that David and Veronica were having an affair. Jennifer walks in, and Catherine shot Jennifer. Is that how she said it? Yeah. So Jennifer walks in, Catherine shoots Jennifer, then shoots David, and then tried to stab Veronica. That's the idea she comes up. That's the scenario she comes up with in her mind. And so meanwhile, Catherine's sitting back there. Catherine is eating it up, looking at the whole situation, sitting back, and basically is just really laughing because she's like, Veronica is breaking down right in front of her eyes, and that's exactly what she wants to have happen. So um, then, Veronica is still, meanwhile she's telling David all of these things about how, she's not crazy, and do you think I'm crazy, and all this old crazy mess. But we all know Veronica clearly has something wrong. And then she says to David, David says to her, you tried to kill me in the house. You tried to burn me up in the house. And Veronica crazy ass gonna say, no, I wasn't trying to kill you. I was just basically trying to disfigure you so no one else will want you. And she clearly loves David in a demented type of way, but it is what it is. So anyway, um, and David says, I wasn't trying to hurt you by divorcing you. I was trying to protect you. Protect me from what? Says Veronica. Protect you from yourself. But she doesn't get that. Veronica has no way of processing that. So, and she's in that moment, she's in a like an emotional tug of war with herself in her mind. She's going back and forth in her mind and trying to, I guess, rationalize the situation in her mind, but it's not working because clearly she has issues. So then Erica calls, and she ends up on the phone with Veronica, and Veronica, Erica says, I'm looking for David, and Veronica's like, this is his wife. And Erica's taken aback, but of course her slick ass, she comes right back with the, oh well, I'm a colleague, and I'm a reporter, and I'm calling to get his comments on Charles Frederickson, the presidential candidate. And Veronica is like, well, he's not available. He's in the shower or something. That midday love making, and Erica's like, well, I thought you guys were getting a divorce. I read you guys were getting a divorce. She's like, no. And then, um, so that happens or whatever. They get off the phone, and before they got off the phone, Veronica made sure to tell Erica, if you want to make these type of requests, you need to call David on the business line. And they get off the phone, and of course Veronica says to David, I don't believe her. And so then let's see what else happens. Uh, and David finally, once they get off the phone, David finally convinces Veronica to take the clip out the gun. So she takes the clip out, and Catherine's in the back is like, there's one in the chamber still. Catherine is getting a kick out of this whole thing. And she was steady poking at the situation because when Veronica said to David, you don't think I'll kill you? And Catherine's like, yeah, we know you would, or something like that. Something she said, but Catherine back there steady just poking. And so then Jim finally arrives, and Jim is like, who is that on my floor? And David says that's the DA, Jennifer Salazar. And so then um, David, Jim, Jim says, Veronica, you can go ahead and go. And Veronica, of course, in all of her arrogance, is like, you don't let me do nothing. You don't. And I'm like, you spent all that time trying to get out the house, and now you finally get your chance to leave, and you still talking shit? Go! Damn. So then, of course, once Veronica says what she says, Jim is like, we not dealing with local politics right now. This is the damn district attorney dead on our floor. We talking about federal shit now. So if anybody come down here from the feds and they start poking around, we all gonna be done. And Veronica, and he tells Veronica, Veronica, you might not have had nothing to do with this, but you got some shit that your hands been in that you don't want the feds to get a hold of. So basically, bitch, get your shit and go. So, all right, that was that. And Jim also asked David to put the call in to have the house cleaned up. So they gonna, once again, they at their old antics, they covering shit up. So we gonna see how that unfolds in later episodes. And then Benny and Hannah. I don't know about y'all, but I'm over Benny at this point. Like, he's still sitting out on the porch waiting for Candace to come. So Hannah gets her stuff, she gets the baby, gets her stuff and everything, and they leave, going to the hotel. The fountain drop. The fountain drop. So then we have Wyatt and Jeffrey. Look at this. So then when we got Wyatt and Jeffrey, and they're at Wyatt's place that he was so badly trying to get to. And Wyatt basically can't wait. Wyatt can't wait to get high. That's all that is. He got his nice little place or whatever, and he trying to get up in there and get him some more coke and get it started again. And Jeffrey's like, you don't need to do that. Basically, once again, Jeffrey's trying to save Wyatt. And Wyatt still is like wanting to do what he want to do. He don't care nothing about what Jeffrey talking. And basically they get into a lover's spat, pretty much. So they're going back and forth. Jeffrey's like, I can't deal with you. I don't want to do this no more. Wyatt's like, come on, Jeffrey, no, you can't leave. Whatever. And Jeffrey leans in for a kiss. Of course, Wyatt blocks him. And Jeffrey's like, all right, well, I'm out. I can't take this no more, so I'm out. And Wyatt sits down on the couch and starts to, I guess you could say, open up to Jeffrey and says, he never had anybody to care for him, and Jeffrey's always been there for him, and he's resentful and all this old mess. And Jeffrey's standing there and like, you know what? This reminds me of my mother and my father's relationship. My father loved my mother so hard. He was willing to stay around for all of her crap. And Jeffrey's still like, but I'm out. Like, I don't want to do this no more. So once Wyatt discovers that he's not going to get what he wants at that point in time, he starts throwing a tantrum in typical Wyatt fashion. Calls Jeffrey a son of a bitch and tells him to get out, and just stupid. And I'm just like, okay, I'm just about over Jeffrey and Wyatt too. Just as bad as I'm over Benny. So Jeffrey tells Wyatt he's going to give him the information of somebody that can help him. And then Wyatt turns around in the same breath. First Wyatt told Jeffrey he needs him. Then he turned around after he couldn't get what he wanted, turns around and says, I don't need you. And Jeffrey's like, yes, you do. That's the problem. All right. So then, let's see what else. um, Hannah ends up at Candace's house, and the Justin's mother comes out and tells Hannah what's going on. So Hannah approaches Candace and is like, basically tell me what is going on. Why are these people? Did you do something to Quincy? And Candace, of course, with all of her proud self, is not going to ever admit to doing anything, or she's not even going to think about opening up to Hannah. And, of course, why would she in that moment? Police all around the house or whatever. So, anyway, um, and Hannah basically told Candace, you need to call your brother because he's sitting over there at that house waiting on you. And clearly you're not going to be able to come up with this money. So you need to call him and tell him you're not coming. And Candace is just like, yeah, whatever. And so then we end up at Veronica's house with Melissa. And she tells Melissa she got mugged. And did y'all see when she sat down how tore up her stockings were? That's all that fighting from on them steps and all of that stuff. Them stockings had all types of rips and runs in them. And I was like, oh, wow. So she moseys on upstairs and she sits down and calls Jeffrey. Tells Jeffrey that Candace and Jeffrey need to meet her at the Artesian Hotel in 30 minutes. And Jeffrey has an attitude with her. And she's like, you could either meet me or not. It's up to you because, whatever. You could either meet me or not. And Jeffrey's like, well, a cell next to yours, I wouldn't mind, or something he said like that. And then, of course, Veronica had the snippy comeback talking about as much as you like to run around acting like a girl, we would never, ever end up on the same side of any prison. She's an old bitch. But anyway, we all know that. So, so that was that. So then they're back at Candace's house. And the little magic marker trick, Justin, how much time did you really think that was going to buy? Okay, but you had to do what you had to do, whatever. So they discover that it's not blood and that it's a magic marker, and they move the cover back and they see the patch of dirt. And Justin says, the one cop is like, how did we not see this? And Justin says, well, she mentioned that she had yard work done. Whatever, Justin. Okay. So Justin goes back to the car where Candace is and is like, look, the jig is up. Basically, they asking for shovels. So you need to get your ass out of here. So then Jeffrey calls Candace and tells Candace that Veronica wants to meet with them at the Artesian Hotel. And Candace is like, what? No, I'm not meeting with her. And Jeffrey's like, well, what choice do we have at this point? Like, what else do you want to have happen? Like, I mean, what the hell you want to do? And of course, Candace has no answer. So eventually Candace agrees to meet at the Artesian Hotel, but she says after she goes and meets with her brother. And Jeffrey's like, no, you need to come now, because if you're not there, she's going to leave. Candace is like, well, let her. So they go back and forth for a second, and then finally, again, like I said, Candace agrees to go meet. And then we come to find out, like, in the next scene, no, not in the next scene, I'm sorry, we'll get to that. So then we have Mitch and War. They take Mitch into jail, and he's in there with War, and he's talking to War. They're going back and forth, and Mitch tells War that he was the one that set him up, that Candace didn't have anything to do with it. But War's got it already in his head, like he over Candace, because Candace done swindled him out of that money and all of that. And so now War has his sights on Candace, like, I'm going to kill her. So Mitch is taken for granted. Mitch has no idea at that point that War is in cahoots with Jim Crier. So War has taken for, I mean, not War, Mitch has taken for granted that War is not getting out anytime soon, which he comes to find out very soon that War is getting out, and that he don't, I mean, at that point, is nothing that he could do about it because he's locked up too. So War gets out of jail. Mitch is still in there, and Mitch is hollering for his phone call because he's, I guess at that, he's trying to figure out what the hell he can do, because there's nothing he can do for Candace. He knows that Candace is in trouble, and there's nothing he can do because he's in jail and War's out. All right, so then let's see. So yeah, so War gets out, and then Hannah is back at Benny's. Now this is after Hannah has already been over to Candace's and sees all of what's going on. And Benny is still hollering about Candace is coming, and they have this talk. Hannah tells Benny about the situation with Benny's father, about how, she was with Benny's father, and she thought that he was the one, and she ended up finding out that he was married, and she was devastated, and yada yada. That goes on. That leads into them talking about Hannah telling Benny that they've got a calling on their lives. And Benny's like, well, what does that mean? And Hannah's like, there's something better in store. If Candace would just stop doing deceitful things, that's why nothing good is coming to her. And then the sheriff rose up. And once again, Benny is dead set on telling everybody that Candace is coming with that money. And at that point, Hannah's like, Benny, you just need to come on and go with me. And he gets all combative and won't get up out the chair. And so they end up physically removing him. Meanwhile, Q is in the car. The baby sees all of this stuff going on. And y'all, the way Benny was getting physical with them police officers in this day and age, do y'all really think that would have gone that far? At one point, Benny had his hand around the neck of one of the cops. Come on now. Do y'all really think in today's day and age that would have went down like that? No taser, no nothing. But okay, we gonna float with it. So that happens. They put him in the back of the police car. He hollering and screaming. We knew that was gonna happen. Candace wasn't gonna come with that money. So then, let's see, what else happens? I think that was the end of it. I think that was the end of the show. If not, if I'm missing something, y'all let me know. I'm trying to keep up with doing the reviews or whatever, and I'm sorry this particular installment is late because I was so busy watching the New Edition biopic. I was so busy watching that, and y'all, it was so good. I'm so glad that they didn't disappoint with that, because New Edition is an iconic group, and the music that we got from New Edition, the group themselves, plus the spin-offs, like we ended up with BBD. Johnny Gill had some hits. Bobby Brown, of course. Ralph Tresvant had some hits. I'm glad that they really stepped their game up and they put the work in for that biopic, and I'm happy. And just I was tweeting the whole time, all 3 nights, and Twitter was funny as I don't know what, but just from the reviews I've seen on it, James Caldwell, I watched his reviews on it. Ashley Miller watched her reviews on it, and everybody is pleased with what BET did, and I am so happy. I'm ready also for BET to run these new shows coming up, The Quad, Madiba, and I think there's a couple of other ones that I want to check out. But anyway, y'all, I wanted to just come in and do this review, and I will be back on schedule with them this week. All right, y'all. Bye-bye.